All right, here we go. Welcome to another BCNDC, everyone. This is episode number 33. As always, this is brought to you by The Burn. Please check out my friend Brad and his online radio station at 541-241-6598. And I was quoting earlier saying it was the Oregon's Burn Online, but that's a totally different person. So I'll get it right, and actually Brad and I are going to do a show so we can make sure we get it right and get you guys all updated. And you get to meet the man that made my podcast possible. So, on with that, let's see. Today is January something, I forget. I'm an idiot. It's around the 11th, 12th, something like that. Shit. Maybe my guest will help me out. She's on the other line waiting patiently. Anyhow, I'm in Bay's basement as always, and I do have a guest today. It's been someone I've been wanting to have on for a few months now. We've been communicating back and forth here and there on the podcast hotline, which is also 541-241-8866. So that's for BCNDC. Anyhow, we've been chatting off and on for a while about doing this podcast. And so I will go ahead and introduce her without any further ado because I don't know much about her. This is Samantha. Samantha, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. What's up?
Great. Not a lot, just fumbling and mumbling through my intro as always. That's kind of my thing. And I stopped the music at least so I can hear you better. So this is kind of a different thing for me too, because it's another one on the phone, and I don't know you at all. We connected mainly through the podcast, obviously, and you heard probably a couple of my interviews, and maybe you've been interested. So I do know a little bit about you because you've introduced a little bit to yourself to me. And so I guess basically we would start out with the main thing is your relationship is kind of where we're going to start, I guess, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine with me.
Perfect. So the guess the thing is like you have a non-traditional relationship, as someone would say, but for myself, I believe labels are for each other. Yeah, you would agree with that.
Definitely non-traditional. A lot of people frown upon it, but screw all of them.
Right. Well, to each their own. Like we kind of briefly talked before we started, and I wanted to let you know that I'm not here to attack you or anything like that or anyone's lifestyle, because I always believe to each their own. I wouldn't want anyone telling me what to do in my bedroom, so I don't think why people need to tell others what to do in theirs.
I'm right there with you, man.
Good. So, I guess we'll start off with the thing is obviously you're a female. I don't know, like that's a very touchy subject these days. It's funny to just assume that by your voice and your name is Samantha that you're a traditional gender female, because nowadays there's so many damn labels and I can get myself in trouble, which I don't mind doing. But the thing of it is, it's not offensive on my part. It's just a matter of like under assumption,
Yeah.
Well. But we don't have to expose any of that, or if there is nothing, like you don't really want to go there because you're like, I'm not into that. But I do know, okay, I'll ask this then. So I do know that you have two men in your life.
That I do.
Okay. And you have a husband and a boyfriend, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So, sorry for the rocky start there. So I guess I would ask, how did it evolve?
Well, Kyle, my husband, and I met, what was it, 9 years ago. Going on 9 years ago.
Uh-huh.
This month, actually.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
And, we were best friends for a while, and then we worked. And been together ever since, and we had a lot of rocky points in our relationship. I'm not going to lie about that. And during one of those rocky points, I'm not going to lie, we were pretty much ready to end it, but at the same time, we were both too stubborn. And I was working at this retail store, and a coworker got hired on. He had a pretty rocky divorce that happened. And he and I, we ended up connecting because of the relationship. Well, the relationship that I was in and the rocky relationship he had just gotten out of. We found solace and support in each other. And I know it's very cliche to say this, but like with Kyle, it was love at first sight. And then when I first met Mark, my now boyfriend, for me, it was also love at first sight with him. And I was extremely confused. I was just like, okay, why am I having these feelings for, you know, my husband and this guy I just met? Like, this isn't right, because I was raised in a Christian Catholic household where you're supposed to be monogamous. You're only supposed to love one person. You're not supposed to love any other person the same way. And so I was battling my own inner demons with that.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, of course. But, because I've always wondered that too. Can you love two people at the same time? So it does sound like that it is a actually loving relationship on both for both men.
Yes, very loving. And it's amazing. You know, I mean, yeah, we all have our hard points with each other. Mainly me with them, because I'm the hothead, and so I get upset about like the stupidest shit. So I'll start fights, and I'm learning to calm that down. But I will take, you know, most responsibility for causing the fights in the house. And it's usually between me and one of the guys. It's never the three of us at each other's throat.
Oh, so you guys all three live together?
Yes, we do all three live together. They obviously do know about each other. Otherwise, we would not be in this. You know, after I sat down with my husband and I told him about my feelings towards Mark, he was like, okay, well, just try and distance yourself from him. I'm sure those feelings will go away. Well, they were definitely not going away. In fact, they actually got even more intense. And we were house sitting for Kyle's mom because she went out of town. While we were house sitting for her, I broke down crying, and I told Kyle that I thought I needed to be single to figure out my feelings. I know that sounds terrible.
No, it doesn't.
And I didn't want to string him along, and I didn't want to string Mark along either. I was just like, you know, I have these feelings for both of them. They both have feelings for me. You know, it's not fair to anybody for me to be like, okay, well, who do I truly want to be with?
Yeah, so you couldn't choose, in a sense.
Yeah, and Kyle, he was just like, okay, look, how about we do this? We call Mark. I will go pick him up. We will bring him here. We will sit down, and we will talk. And I don't see any reason why, if he feels for you the same way I do, that we can't just make a relationship work with the three of us. Because I am not willing to lose you. I'd rather share you than lose you.
That's extremely adult in a way, but also, you know, interesting. Because, I mean, from my point of view, you know, I've thought about that over the years, because I've been with my wife for 20 years, and if she ever cheated, I'd be devastated, obviously. Would I leave her? I don't think so. I would hope that we could work it out. But would I accept her now sharing her with this other man? No, I couldn't accept that. But that's just me, of course, and probably a decent amount of others. But it's interesting.
It wasn't easy for either one of them in the beginning. Because it was a very...
So is it... Sorry to interrupt you.
The situations that we were in were kind of complicated with our living situations. So we would try to get together whenever we could. And, again, that was kind of hard for us. But Kyle, he would sometimes feel like the third wheel, and he would get jealous. And then Mark, he would sometimes get jealous because Kyle got to go home with me at the end of the night, where he had to go back to the, not so good situation he was in, and, be with people that he did not want to be with.
Right.
So,
wow.
Later on down the line, things just kind of came together where we were all just kind of like, okay, this is it. We're all in bad situations here. We all love each other. We're family. Let's just pull our resources together and just fucking move in together. We've been talking about it for 6 months now. Let's just fucking do it.
Wow. So, the living situation, that's what I was going to ask. Is it similar to like a polygamy relationship, but you're like the opposite in this situation as far as like the male with multiple wives? So, and I guess I'm not trying to be crass, but who gets you? Like, is that worked out already, like pre-planned during the week, or not to?
No. Okay, so a couple of people who know about this have asked me, so do you guys all share a room? And no, we don't. Mark and I, we have our own room, and then Kyle and I also have our own room. And honestly, it just depends on who is not annoying me the most, or who is not, wreaking havoc with their assholes on who I sleep with. It just, honestly, it depends night to night who I go and I sleep with. Lately, I've been sleeping more with Kyle, my husband, than I have been with my boyfriend, Mark. But for the first, I want to say, 6 months that we were living in our new home, I was mainly with Mark more than I was Kyle, because, it was our first time living together and everything. So it was kind of exciting. Kind of like that newlywed stage, I guess you could say. Right.
Well, yeah, any new relationship is always going to be like that. Where the feelings are heightened, the butterflies and all that stuff. You're excited to see them all the time, and relationships do lose that, but they don't necessarily lose it forever. You can bring it back. Because me and the wife experienced that not too long ago, and we started doing more date nights, and that shit helps. You remember, because we have kids, so we have 2, and that consumes a lot of our time because they're still pretty young. And, now we're getting babysitters for us to go out, and that, excuse me, I don't know if you've seen or heard the show, but I burp often, and I don't edit, so, excuse me.
You're good.
Anyhow, I guess, sorry, I got lost in my burps. So remember, if you would, what was I saying? If you don't know, if you remember.
All right, repeat that one more time.
Oh, sorry. I guess. Oh no, what I was talking about. So it was just rekindling the relationship, I guess. So do you go on date nights with your husband and your boyfriend equally, or is there not a lot of that?
Well, honestly, money, it's always an issue. But Kyle, he takes me out, as much as he can, if we want to. We're kind of just homebodies. The 3 of us really like to enjoy each other's company. So a lot of the nights, like tonight, for instance, we just, we go out in the living room, we throw on a movie, and we all just lay about on the couch and just hang out. But there have been quite a few times where, they've each taken me out, or Kyle will go out with his buddies, and it'll just be me and Mark at home. So we'll order something off of Uber Eats, and we'll go snuggle on the bed and watch a movie. It's just...
so the 2 guys get along pretty good? So the 2 men, they get along pretty well then, or?
I think they like each other more than they like me sometimes.
And not to be gross, but theirs is, they're not sexual together. They're just sharing you in a sense.
Yeah, I'm the only one who's the common denominator sexually.
Gotcha. So they don't have outside interests as well, and if they would you be upset with that?
Oh, God damn it, okay.
Sorry, should I not?
So,
anything you don't want to answer, that's fine. You don't have to. It's quite all right.
And no, it's funny that you asked that because Kyle, he does show some interest in women here and there, but as far as he's concerned, he calls me his goddess.
Oh.
And he doesn't want to be with any other woman. We have tried that, and he didn't really enjoy it because I guess I just set expectations too high for him or something along those lines. From what he tells me, I don't believe it. I think he's bullshit, but we'll go with it.
You never know.
Mark on the other,
You never know. I mean, you know. I mean, it's hard to say what someone else is feeling or thinking. He may be totally infatuated with you. That's why he obviously is willing to share you. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't think very highly of myself, so it's hard for me to see that. But
Well, not all of us, I'd say. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think a lot of us experience self-esteem issues. I know I do. And I think a lot of people do. It's just they don't let on to it, you know. It's just one of those things like act like you don't, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, at least I'm pretty honest about it. Like, yeah, that's a whole other ball game. I don't want to get into that right now.
No, that's all right. Like I said, this is my brain. It goes left and right constantly. Never stays, on focus. But that's okay. I wrote down some notes, at least, and some questions so I could have for you. But in most of these, I'm just going off the top of my head with the conversation, which is flowing quite well. And I should say thank you for doing the interview as well. I have a few people that are willing to do it. I just need to set them up. But it's just nice to, ask people and they say yes. I'm like, oh, cool. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me on. I know this is really odd. Not a lot of people know what a poly relationship is. Some people think it's just an excuse to be able to cheat with your partner knowing, or they think it's like an open relationship, but in all actuality, it's not.
So
it's very close.
You're dedicated to those two men as well. You're not going to go outside of the two gentlemen you're with.
Oh, heck no.
Okay.
Definitely not. I love them with every fiber of my being, and I can't imagine my life without either one of them in it. I think it would tear me apart.
So if your boyfriend was to find someone else and told you about it and was to move on, that would hurt you a lot then, or?
Yeah, it would, but I would have to respect his decision. He actually did get a girlfriend within the first year that we were living here. And I didn't like it, but I accepted it. And I didn't like the way she treated him because she used the hell out of him. Like, if she got a ride over here, she would tell the people who was giving her a ride that she would give them gas money. She would get here, and she would look at him and basically tell him to go pay them for bringing her here.
Oh, wow.
I would have to go out of my way to make different types of foods that she would eat because she's a very picky eater to the point that if I was preparing something and she didn't like the way it sounded or the way it smelled or whatever, she would just be like, well, I guess I'm not eating tonight.
Oh,
and
God.
I would just be like, all right, well, what the fuck will you eat then? And she would tell me, and in the middle of cooking, I would turn off the burner, turn off the stove, get in my car, go up to the store, spend what little money I had left, get her the shit that she would eat, come home, cook that, and she wouldn't even say thank you or anything. She was not a grateful person at all.
Sounds like it. Jesus.
But that was just a totally toxic situation, and I had pointed that out to Mark plenty of times, but he felt like he owed her. I don't want to get into that, but he felt like he owed her. And so he was trying to give her a chance and everything like that, and he and we got into plenty of fights about it because of the way she treated him. She treated him like a money bag, and I didn't like that. And she didn't respect him or anything. And he did eventually tell her about the relationship that he and I had, and she didn't like it, but she was going with it. And then towards the end of their relationship, the reason it ended is because she told him, I don't want to move in with them. I just want it to be me and you. So we need to start looking at places for the two of us to go to. And when that happens, I don't want you having anything to do with Samantha anymore. And Mark was not having that. He basically told her, okay, well, you know what, I think I need a break from you. You're suffocating me. And so they went on a break for a little bit, and then she was being a major, major bitch to him because they worked together. I wasn't working there at that point anymore. But she was being a major bitch to him at work, and then she would just, like, yell at him through text. So finally one day I came home. I was just getting ready to jump in the shower, and he's just like, hey, Sam, I need you to look at this. And I was like, okay, what? And he handed me his phone, and it was like this novel of him breaking up with her. And I'm not gonna lie, I got all giddy. And after I read it, I was like, okay, cool, that explains it. Got in the shower, and I did a little happy dance, and I'm surprised I did not fall on my ass.
Wow.
And
interesting.
And yes, I was very jealous, and he has mentioned that he likes other girls to me, and I have gotten snarky and territorial, but I'm trying to get better with that. But at the moment, he seems very, very happy in the relationship we have, and it doesn't look like he wants to wander, so.
Because I would assume it feels hypocritical if you were to tell him no, right? I would assume.
Okay, you broke up a little bit, sorry. What?
Oh, I said I'd assume that it would feel hypocritical to tell him no.
Yes,
right.
Severely, okay. But he understands that I'm extremely territorial.
Yeah.
And when we agreed to do this relationship, we agreed that it was going to be the three of us, and that if he wanted to change his mind, it was going to have to be he needs to sit down and talk with me.
Gotcha.
Because that's the only way it's going to work, is if we're all open and communicating, and if he does end up bringing another girl into it, like he did with that other girl, it can't be where her and I are clashing and we're at each other's throats, or to where I have to be completely blitzed drunk to handle her being here like I was.
Oh, that's horrible.
So,
if this is too much to ask,
we all have to be on an even playing field, and he understands, even though this is very hypocritical of me, I honestly don't give a damn. I have to be number one. The girl cannot outrank me. She outranks me, and she's getting her ass booted.
Well, I mean, that's a standard to the relationship. I mean, if he accepted, that's on him, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I don't judge that at all. I was going to ask, though, if this is too much, is there ever, maybe I shouldn't ask, is there ever someone you bring into it, like another female, or for you, or a situation like, maybe I shouldn't go there. Is that?
Oh, no, that's perfectly fine.
I mean, not to say that you guys are sexual people or something like that. I was just curious if there's ever that.
Well, I don't make it any secret. I am attracted to women as well as men.
Oh, okay.
I do prefer men over women, but I do like to have fun, and I don't mind bringing another girl in to have a little fun, and then telling her, all right, well, that was awesome. Get the hell out of my house.
Wow. But you're willing to share them with your men, or just on your own? Sorry to, maybe, I don't know. We can go somewhere else. How about we go, we did enough of that.
Well,
I guess I asked if the jealousy factor was there, or maybe I didn't. Do either of them get jealous of each other, or is there ever that beef or a problem there?
In the very beginning, there was some here and there, on both ends. It never led to any fights or anything like that. It was just something that they had to get over because it was very new for all of us, that they had to share me, and it was very weird for me, having to share myself, too.
Yeah.
So there was jealousy here and there, but now there's none. We've found a groove, and it works. So awesome.
So prior relationships, you obviously you said that you, I don't know, I don't want to label, but you've experimented with men and women both. So, did you ever have a type of relationship like this before, or this is the first time you ever had like a sharing two people?
This is my first time having a relationship like this.
So it wasn't something you've been like thinking about. It just kind of happened, and you're like, "Shit, what do I do? I'm in love with two people."
Yeah, pretty much. You know, and I've never felt this way about any other people or person before. So I was hella confused why I was having those feelings. You know, the same type of feelings for, you know, two different men. And for the longest time, I would joke and I would say, if I could just take the two of you and smush you together and make one person, my life would be so much easier.
Right. I think that's the thing, though. That's a universal language, though, in a sense of like relationships. None of them are easy. And you kind of, you know, there's parts of everyone. I love these like 9 out of 10, but that one sucks. And that's the thing is, like I always say, no one's perfect. And so that's the thing of being able to look in the mirror and say, okay, I have plenty of my own faults, so I need to accept my mate's faults because, you know, they should, you know, what am I trying to spit out? If they're willing to accept my shortcomings, then I should definitely accept theirs. So, yeah.
Like, honestly, I wouldn't change a damn thing about them.
Okay.
You know, I love them for all their perfections and all their imperfections. Yes, I just quoted John Legend, do not judge me.
So speaking of the judgment, how has the judgment been from your friends and family, and do they know, and also their friends and family? How has it been for, I guess, all of you on the personal level, like dealing with your own circles in a sense? Has that obviously been difficult if they do know?
Well, okay, so none of my family members know about this because I already know that it won't end well. And, you know,
and you want to keep them in your life.
Something that's happy for me and turn it into something ugly.
And you want to keep a relationship with your family, is what you're trying to say, so you don't want to alienate them or yourself from your family.
Oh, pretty much. I mean, I already keep my distance from my family as it is because they're pretty, we'll say dysfunctional to be nice.
I can relate to that. Excuse me.
Now, Mark, his mother passed a while back, so, you know, obviously she doesn't know because she's not here. And then his dad, the two of them, they haven't talked in years. So that's, you know, not really an option either. None of his family knows. Not that he talks to any of them, and it helps that they're all not in this state. They're somewhere else. And then Kyle, his mom actually knows. And the reason she knows is because she came to stay with us for a little bit. Because her apartment complex caught on fire and there was damage done to her apartment and it was not livable. So rather than her go stay in a hotel, we offered up our extra room for her. And Mark, while Kyle and I were both out at work, pulled her aside and told her about everything.
Wow.
And she was 100% accepting of it.
Wow, really?
But then again, she is a hippie child, so it takes a lot for her to be like, I condemn you to hell.
Huh. Wow. That's rad that she was accepting. I mean, pretty progressive. But like you said, a hippie child, so that makes sense. Huh. Wow.
Yeah, it was, I wasn't expecting her to be so open and accepting about it. And, you know, Mark, he just didn't want us to have to, you know, sneak around and hide and everything because we didn't know how long they were going to be here.
Right.
And, you know, he likes it when I go and sleep in his room, and he didn't want to have to wait for them to fall asleep for me to sneak in there and then have to, like, set my alarm super early to,
or if you got caught, have to explain it on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better to just talk to them about it rather than like them finding and going, "Oh my gosh, you're cheating."
Yeah, no, I mean, we wanted to avoid that, so he thought the best option was for us to just be upfront and honest. And my solution, before he went and did that, was to not do anything while they were here. And he's like, yeah, no, that's not an option.
Oh, wow. Interesting. He's like, no, fuck that. Oh, my
yeah,
goodness. That's
much.
funny.
So he's like, yeah, no, you get your ass in here and you sleep with me, and we keep going like everything is normal. Okay, then, I guess. Right. So, okay, well, you kind of already did it, so I can't tell you no.
Right. I was gonna ask also about like labels and like the gender titles that are out there now. Do you guys use a lot of those pronouns? Is that kind of your thing too as well? I mean, I only ask this because it's kind of a thorn in my side. I feel like I don't judge anyone's lifestyle, but why do I have to know what it's called? I guess. So I was just curious if you guys, are really into the labeling or not.
Well,
it's more of a personal question.
I love having a label because I'm a weirdo like that.
No, it's okay. I have a hard time with it, I guess.
It's because of some very deep-rooted insecurities. I kind of have to have a label to know where I stand with people. Otherwise, I'm kind of a mess, and I don't know what to do with myself. Like, okay, well, it's okay to do this, or am I overstepping my bounds, or do I not do this, or what? And that was a battle between me and Mark for a while. I'd be like, okay, so what exactly are we? And he's like, you know what we are. I was like, no, I don't. He's like, what, do you really need a fucking title or a label? I was like, yes.
See, I'm more like him, I guess. I'm more like, if you just love someone, why does it have to be defined by someone else's social construct? It just seems, but at the same time, you're probably more like my wife, where she likes to label everything, put things in nice, neat little boxes and store them, and for me, I think human nature is more free-flowing, that to label each one of us kind of pins you in and boxes you into this little thing to where, like, you can't be other things.